hoping, I know that we've got a room full of EV nerds, but I thought that we might want to talk just briefly about what is V2G and V2X.
From my point of view, I would distinguish between three different use cases. So we have vehicle to home, which is, you just care about your home, power it whenever you need it. We have vehicle to load, which means you are out somewhere, people use a coffee maker. I'm not sure if that's the best example, but maybe a power tool, whatever. And last but not least, we have vehicle to grid. So the vehicle will be connected via the charging station, maybe via your home or somewhere else at a parking lot where your office is, to the grid. And the kind of grid makes use of it.
Excellent. And I guess, why are we talking about this now? Is this a thing that's happening right now, or is this a conversation for 5 years from now?
I mean, on a wider scale, as far as I know, this is, let's say it the other way around. So we right now talk about pilots. So there are a bunch of players in the industry, so-called aggregators, who are then managing a vehicle or a fleet, and then work together with the utilities. So we do not have a, let's say, out role for that for each and every EV customer available, but in different areas, and Lauren mentioned that already, that we see different states where things are progressing faster. There are programs available, but so far it's we are just at the beginning.
Okay, so it's not totally widespread, but there's obviously automakers that are interested in this. There's utilities that are trying things out. So just depending on where you are or what your vehicle is, like you may be making coffee on a camping trip or something.
It's, from my point of view, a little bit more complex. So we need to distinguish between AC and DC charging. This is more a regulation topic. So, and then also the utilities are highly interested in that. And right now, there are not a lot of vehicles out there which support that. And I can understand that on the one hand side, everybody is busy, even though we heard the talk about the software sales numbers, but everybody is busy trying to get vehicles out. So this is not the priority number one. But as Lauren already said, this is an opportunity. And if we want to make use of it, I guess the industry is doing itself a favor to think about how to implement that and have this as a unique selling point, instead of we just add another layer of complexity to a new thing.
Awesome. I'm glad that you brought up the word complexity, because we've heard a little bit about the reliability issues already this morning, and I know that charging reliability has been a huge topic for the industry and is a big deal for drivers and people considering becoming EV owners. And if you're adding in something like V2G or V2X, does it just add a layer of complexity into something that's already got problems?
The simple answer is yes. The charging, or the need for charging interoperability, does not go away, even though we heard that now the idea is to change the NACS might help. From my point of view, this is just a kind of another addition for charging points. We do not have enough charging points right now, and if we are looking, I guess about 1/3 of the charging stations we have in the US are in California right now. So other regions definitely need to grow the infrastructure as well. But at the end of the day, we have, and if we just focus on charging, we have two different players. We have the OEMs, we have the charging station manufacturers, maybe operators, but that's, at least from my point, not that important. But interoperability is, I guess right now for Tesla, not a big thing, because they control the charging side and the vehicle side. If you open up your network, I'm pretty sure that you will also see interoperability issues. And the industry, it's, from my point of view, not true that the industry did not care about that so far. So there are organizations organizing plug fests where then the industry can test the different devices. The issue I see with that is that we see more and more vehicles on the road, different brands, different charging stations. So it's, at least on the charging station side, for me, it feels like a gold rush right now that, many startups are there. And if the industry does not find a way to, take this interoperability topic seriously, we will see more failures in the market. And let me give you one example. If we are looking at the communication side or USB, if I plug somewhere a USB stick in, I'm not worried about interoperability, maybe about cybersecurity, which is a different animal anyway, but there in this industry, they also established a forum where people can test against the standard and not against different devices, and that's my point. Not only because we at Keysight are doing that, but testing against the standard to make sure that everybody has the same understanding and the same test routine, to make sure that after in the market the customer is not experiencing bad charging session.
Got it. And I guess in terms of like when we think about V2G or V2X, this is more of a thing that you're going to be doing at home necessarily. It's not happening necessarily out in like the public charging space. This is something that's more happening with like homeowners, people with condos that happen to have like a dedicated parking spot.
From my point of view, that's say the easiest way to start with. But at the same time, I guess it does not really make sense, at least right now, to have a program where you say, okay, the half an hour, 30 minutes, you're plugged in at the grocery store, or even though if it's a huge store, maybe an hour. That's, I guess, not what makes the big difference right now. But if we are looking at parking lots where people park their vehicles longer, for example, when they're in the office, so I would call it a semi-public infrastructure, that makes sense as well. And especially if we are looking at the energy production from renewable energies, during the day we have a peak with solar. So this is a use case where we can use the massive amount of energy storage we have on reels right now and put it in use. And just to put that in perspective, even though we have compared to ICE vehicles, a small number of electric vehicles on the road, the capacity we have right now in EVs is 5 times bigger than the energy storage, the local or the energy storage which is permanently tied to the grid.
So something like managed charging, whether you're doing that at home or in public, at your office or whatever, that's like the baby step into...
From my point of view, yes, and
okay.
Especially it does not hurt anybody. If I have an app and my normal routine is I leave the house at 8 p.m., let's say it like that, and when I'm home after work or whatever and I plug my vehicle in, I do not care if the vehicle is charged instantly or let's say at 2 a.m. in the morning, because then the energy rate is better because we have a storm or wind producing or pushing more energy into the grid.
And I guess since you work a lot in this area, can you talk about the kind of players that are involved in this and like who needs to be at the table to make V2G work and who's in the middle of that, making sure that everybody is communicating?
So, good news is that there are already conferences like V2G conferences which started in earlier this year. We had an additional session to that this month in Detroit. We had a lot of people on the table, but I would say that the main players are of course the OEMs. We have the charging station manufacturers and or operators. We have the utilities. They also are highly interested their main job is to keep the lights on. So if somebody wants to interact with the grid, they need to know how this will happen. We have the regulation bodies. For example, UL is highly involved in that. And then I already mentioned that we have so-called aggregators, so companies who are then offering this service for a customer or a fleet owner to manage the charging. And I mean, this also leads to one other point. Of course, we need to talk about incentives. Because if, I can understand that, yeah, people are, I mean, including myself, people are sometimes lazy, right? So if we do not find a way, and at least the programs we see right now offering only for managed charging, something around $500 per year. I also saw higher numbers. I'm not sure how long we will have or see this higher numbers or higher incentives, but people need to see at the end of the month some reduction on the energy bill to sign up for that. Otherwise, yeah, people will forget about it.
And you're seeing that just for managed charging?
Yes. So this does not mean, that's a good question. So this does not mean that anybody is taking energy out of the vehicle. This is just about the time when the vehicle is charged.
Okay. I guess along the incentive pathway, what do you think needs to be in place in terms of payments to EV owners to get, if you wanted to go to like a V2G type model with the, you know, with your local utility?
Yeah, I mean, we see in some regions we already have that with, for example, AC consumption, that you can have your AC on a different, on a separate meter, so they can, yeah, cut that off. Also with flexible rates from, yeah, if during peak hours energy is or electricity is more expensive. I'm not sure if we want also to throw this as the customer. So having an easy way, signing up for that, having then a fixed rate, from my point of view, this is easier for the rollout. I know there are some people very interested in about tracking their energy consumption. This goes then, from my point of view, in the smart home area. But for the average customer, I believe an easy model is something which, yeah, will help for the rollout.
Okay, something that's just sort of invisible to the customer that you sign up for. Because I know there's people in this audience that have spreadsheets of all of these things already. There are certain people who definitely track all of this and love doing that. And then there's like the rest of us that want to like set it and forget it and not think about it.
And I mean, we saw that also with the let's say first wave of electric vehicles. Those had been the people who had able to afford it, but also had been interested in that, these early adapters. But if this should be or we want to make it a success story, we need to get the average person involved. And I can understand that nobody wants to, yeah, really think about, okay, when do I have to plug in my vehicle to get this benefit or incentive and whatnot. So an easy solution, I know this is easier said than done, but at least if we have a longer time span overnight charging a vehicle, we already saw projects where, yeah, they achieved savings, having then kind of be able to be part of the energy market and had then this arbitrage trades where they made money and then passed that to the consumer.
Well, I guess you have to get the auto OEMs also on board with this, and I know some of them are allowing V2G to happen and some of them don't have the software set that way. I guess what's the incentive? Why would an automaker care about doing V2G?
So it will become, I'm quite positive that it will become, at least for some regions, also a selling point. So I moved last year to Michigan. We faced in March outages for a couple, depending where you live, a couple of days. Some people talked about even weeks. So if you have this in the back of your mind and you have the possibility to choose between a vehicle which supports that you can take energy out of your vehicle if you really need it to power the furnace or power the fridge, that's from my point of view a selling point. And we can now argue, and I also had this discussion with colleagues, but also customers, but why do I want to kind of take mobility out of my vehicle? Isn't that kind of a stupid idea, because then I'm not able to go from A to B? But if we are looking at the amount which is stored in the average battery in an electric vehicle, we talk about 50 to 100 kilowatt hours. So if we compare that with the average battery storage for a household, this is 5 to 10 times greater than that. So just taking out a bit to keep the lights on, I mean, this is an extreme situation, but especially in that extreme situation, I'm pretty happy to have that backup and do not have to deal with a generator, which sounds like the whole street is mowing the lawn at the same time.
So you think this becomes sort of becomes a marketing tool for the automakers?
I mean, we could even think that further, that it's one marketing tool, but also if I hear from my neighbor, hey, I signed up to this V2G program from my utility, and I can cut my energy costs by $50 a month. That's also maybe not for each and everybody, but I mean, I prefer to have a dinner using that money instead of spending that on my energy bill.
I wanted to talk a little bit too about grid reliability, which I think is the other, just another part of this reliability question. And we hear a lot of things all the time about what adding a whole bunch of EVs into the system is going to do. There's a lot of industries that are electrifying right now beyond transportation, and everybody's kind of going to the grid all at once. And I'm wondering, I guess, how V2G fits in with that. And also, I guess, for like the distribution system, like the system of wires that's in the neighborhood, or going into your house, if there are limitations or things that need to be upgraded to make this happen.
So first I would like, I can only echo what Lauren already said. If we try, or if we continue focusing on DC fast charging, if that's the kind of final goal, this will not work. But if we have managed charging, and I can understand that also utilities are pushing for that, to make sure that not everybody's charging at the same time. And of course there might be an emergency, or you want to send up early, so then you can kind of get the priority. And at least for that moment, if you subscribed to a let's say flexible smart charging tariff, that people can do that. But at the end of the day, having a managed charging process, not only for one vehicle, but for example one community or one block, will also limit the amount of upgrades we need to the grid. And if we then add vehicle to grid to that, and also see this as an opportunity instead of a burden, this should lower the amount of upgrades we need to the grid. And last but not least, I'm not aware of any good data points about that, just simulations, but this angst that we will see blackouts because of EVs is, from my point of view, something which will not happen if we are at least continue working together on V2G.
Do you think V2G has to happen at a certain point of EV adoption?
Yes.
Okay.
So, otherwise it would be a waste of energy storage we have right now, and I'm pretty sure not everybody will sign up to that, but I'm very sure if we continue working with incentives, and I do not mean that the government needs to involve and invest money. It's about the utilities having an interest in that, and then giving rewards to the customer if they sign up to that.
Got it. I'm not sure the extent to which people have any idea how much energy is in their vehicle.
I'm totally with you. But this is also kind of an education point of view, and if you then say, okay, you can use your electric vehicle to power your house, if you reduce, maybe you should not make a turkey during that time, but if you reduce the energy you are needing, you can power your house up for 2 days, 3 days. To put that into perspective, I guess this would help people to understand that how much value they have in their vehicle besides the mobility factor.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think we are at time, but I appreciate being able to grill you in front of all of these folks.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the questions.